Okay, perfect. Let's start, Sam. So this new series of Masterclass Express that we are calling them is going to be a series of short interviews where I really want to get to know you as an entrepreneur, you as a professional, obviously, as well as a human being. But I'm going to ask you some questions related to your business, related to yourself. And I hope that you can open yourself and share content that will be really valuable for everybody. So, oh, I lost you. There you are. No, don't leave me alone, Sam. Come on, come back.
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So we already have 25 people online. So the first question that I wanted to ask you is, many of us already know you as a coach at Inside Academy. We see you at the school, we see you in class, we know how great you are through your master classes as well. But you're also an entrepreneur. You have, in fact, more than one company. So I just wanted to tell me, who is Samantha Sacchi and what are the businesses behind you? And yeah, basically pitch yourself and your business.
All right. Well, that's an interesting one. So yeah, I guess Samantha, the entrepreneur, is always like transforming and changing, right? So if you ask me the same question maybe like 6 months ago, and in 6 months it'll have a different answer. But I do like to show this other face that doesn't have everything together, because as an entrepreneur, I think I'm constantly being challenged with the different, like, let's say, things that I manage. So one main thing that has been the theme is the Self Club, and the Self Club, as I say, is on a mission to make us better human beings, making us more emotionally conscious, more socially conscious, and obviously more self-aware and emotionally intelligent, which is the core of everything it does. So and important. We're always exploring different ways to do that. Yeah. So we're always exploring, and you know, not being my full-time thing, it's always changing, evolving, right? Seeing how I can use the resources and time I have to make the most of it. I also have a company in Spain that some of you know, called Marley Camino. And well, right now it's a tourism company. So we do walks. We specialize only in walks in the north of Spain. So it's a very, very niche market that we cater to, which is amazing, because in terms of marketing and our product, it's so segmented, it's so specific, you know. There's a lot of competition, but it's fantastic. And right now, you guys can imagine the challenges of all operations, not only all operations like seizing, but also just like people asking for refunds, right? Like cash flow just going crazy.
And how are you
and seeing how to manage that. Well, it's really tough. I think the main and most important thing was like having conversations with employees, like talking and being like, hey, we want to be there for you, but you know, we can't in the way that we'd like to. How can we work together? Who needs the most, right? Who can sacrifice what? Thank God there's helps from the government. But yeah, we had to let down like a lot of people.
That's
you know,
terrible.
Just,
it's a hard thing. Like balancing the business side and the human side. Like you don't want to let people without a job, but at the same time you cannot afford them. So it's
exactly. I think that is the biggest challenge. And you know, I do a lot of personality stuff, and I'm a feeler instead of a thinker. So I make decisions mostly based on my values and relationships.
Good.
And that is one of the most difficult parts of not only being an entrepreneur, because an entrepreneur, as we've talked, is like a mindset, right? But there's also the business owner. Like if you want to be a business owner and you're a big F or a feeler in this personality framework,
it's hard.
It's so tough. It's so hard. It's so hard because you feel like you're like, I don't know, letting down a part of yourself.
And nobody teaches you how to deal with these things, and nobody's prepared for these things because nobody was expecting a pandemic. So.
No, totally. But I think one of the key things as an entrepreneur, and this is part of what I do with the Self Club, is you got to explore always like different parts of yourself. You know, it brings so many challenges that you're going to be so uncomfortable with, whether it's self-promoting, right? Like promoting yourself. Like when I come out with new things, I don't want to be like, hey guys, you know, 25 times, join my event. It's going to be so cool. but actually people need reminders, right? And
All the
you
time.
have to be okay with people not liking you, and
Hmm.
knowing that, you know, your product is not going to be for everyone. And the same goes with your employees though, right? Like,
Hmm.
not everyone is going to understand the decisions that you make in life in
Yeah, yeah,
general.
yeah.
And that's why it's so important for you to be okay with yourself. So anyway, I deviated from what you asked me,
No,
but
but it's good. It's an interesting topic, so it's
yeah, these are
good.
all part of the Samantha as an entrepreneur challenges, you know,
Yeah.
that come with that role that is ever changing.
Hmm.
Yeah, but definitely the Self Club, I think, is my main thing right now. And with Marley Camino, my company in Spain, we kind of want to start this trend, like rather than tourism out in the world, it's like inward tourism. Yeah, so
Okay.
like exploring the different parts of yourself.
Oh, interesting concept.
Yeah, yeah, so we're gonna be, you know, using the Self Club and promoting a lot of the things that the Self Club does, right? And how can you connect with the different parts of yourself without leaving your home?
That's good. And you can
Yeah.
leave reviews about yourself.
Yeah. Well, that's gonna be funny. Yeah. This day, you just review like your day and how you felt that day, and then what
Yeah, yeah.
happened.
Or aspects of yourself, like from an emotional side of things, from a physical side of things, like reviews from different aspects, like you do
That's interesting.
when
Yeah,
you do
I like
tourism.
that.
That's
Yeah,
super cool.
exactly, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's really cool.
Okay, great. So you specialize on emotional intelligence and self-awareness, right?
Yes.
Any other areas? Are those like the specific areas, or are there
I really think,
other keywords that I'm missing?
yeah, sometimes I think like it's all the same thing, like leadership
Okay,
development, emotional intelligence, self-awareness, right? Different like words mean different things to different people. But
totally.
yeah, essentially it's that. It's
Okay,
that.
perfect. And so as we were talking, we are living in really crazy moments nowadays. So what are those tips that you can share with our audience, with the people, with the 23 people that are listening to us now, to help them go through all this?
Yeah, guys, you know, right now I think we have an overload of information in general, and I don't like to give advice
Okay.
because usually advice is like I always tell you guys, like a recycled form of your own experience, right? You take
Hmm.
what worked for you, what didn't work for you, and you're kind of like, here, right? This is what
Totally.
you should do. And so I'll never tell you what you should do. And I think that the number one thing you should do, but because it's going to take me out of the equation, is listen to yourself.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that like being confined, and so many things shifting and feeling like a lot of emotions that are going to come up around this uncertainty, because we're feeling like a series of things, right? I mean, and everybody is living this experience so different, right? It's so
Hmm.
different if you're locked by yourself in your apartment or you're with your family and you have a baby, right? Like everything, it's so different.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Um, but the question is, what is coming up for you?
And how can people do this? Because you say listen to yourself. How can I start listening to myself? I think people struggle with this.
Yeah, I think that there's a few like really simple but really powerful tools, right? Like obviously the classic one is meditation.
Hmm.
And meditation, and let me tell you something, I preach meditation, but let me say meditation is really hard for me. Like I am not like, I think so much. My brain is so overactive. Like sometimes I think I have like problems, you know? I'm like, okay. So the point is just, you know, playing with different things. But sometimes I just like sit and I look out at the tree or like at the sky, right? It's a form of mindfulness meditation.
Okay.
I do nothing to
Hmm.
allow myself to feel. Another thing that is really, really helpful is writing. So
Writing, yeah.
writing, oh God,
Like
it's
having
so
a
great.
journal or just writing whatever.
Exactly. And some people can just write, right? Like you just start and you just, hey, I'm feeling this happened. I'm not sure what to do. Like some people's internal dialogue flows a little more easy, but you
Yeah.
can also just take like random questions. Like actually one of my good friends that I'm collaborating with is going to come out with these journal cards, and they're
Hmm.
cards to help you for journaling, right? So you can
Oh,
just
that's
take,
cool.
yes, but you can just take
Any
any kind
random
of
question
reflective
and write
questions.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ah, that's
Yeah.
super cool.
And some really easy things, like a question to ask yourself is, what is coming up for me right now, right? What am I feeling today? And try to connect with that. And I think this is really important because I just want to put this into context with something that I often talk about. You know, the world has been slowly shifting from a lot of masculine energy. And when I mean masculine, like it's kind of like yin and yang, masculine and feminine. It doesn't mean men and women. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
But the world has been in like very masculine energy, which is very much do, goals, strategy, you know, working towards something external. And slowly as we shift our values, and I think that this time is really going to shift our values, other values that are more feminine, you know, the other side, the yin, are kind of coming on board. And those values are things like flow and creativity and emotional intelligence and going in instead of going out. And we're still not there, right? Like we still as a society value goals and strategy. It sounds like cooler and more important than flow and creativity. Like we're still not there, but we're getting there. And so as feminine energy sweeps in, I think that this, I swear, is a completely feminine energy phenomenon. Okay, so you can't leave your house. That is completely internal. Like you're forced to go in. You can't go out, right? Which is already the essence of that energy. And then furthermore, like we have to actually just sit with ourselves. So there's this word that has come up for me, which is to be rather than to do.
Good.
And I've always felt like I'm never doing enough, right? Like I can't do enough. It's not enough. I have like FOMO. Even during the quarantine, like when this thing started happening, I had to like fight with a part of me that was like, oh my God, I have to take advantage. I have to create so much content. I'm like, calm down. This is not how I want to live this time. Like I'm not gonna take the same mindset and kind of stress and hurry that I've had before into this moment when the world is screaming, slow down.
Totally. Let me add something to this. It remind me about something that I'm now, or in the past 2-3 years, I've been in this action mode, 100% doing, getting things done, achieving things. But I haven't been creating so much as in the past. I remember that in the past, I allowed myself to have some free time. I'm a very artistic person, although not so many people know about it. I like music, I like painting, I have a lot of art and creativity in myself that not so many people know. And when I was doing these activities, or even simpler things like reading, many times these were the triggers or the moments where my mind could allow me to get better ideas. And my best ideas came from these moments of peace, of not just being, as you say. And that is a form of meditation as well, awareness, mindfulness. Like being in the present moment and just being there, not necessarily doing something, thinking in the future.
And all of the creatives have always said that, right? Like, and it's funny because for people like hyperactive people like us, we might have to actually schedule in a time where it's like doing nothing time. So that means that you don't take calls, you put your phone on airplane mode, you know, and for me sometimes it looks like I actually found this really cool spot where I could put my phone on a stick, and I can just be on my carpet, like on the floor, and just take out like some cards and some books, you know, and just like play. It's about playing with ideas,
which is so much fun.
Yes, and the key here that I want to just leave everybody with the masculine feminine energies is that the feminine and the play, they don't have any focus on the result. So this is so
just for the sake of the game.
Yes. So it's like, it's not like business where we have to focus on a concrete result. No, there's no result here. It is what it is. And I think we all, including myself, I'm talking to myself when I say this.
Yeah.
I have to feel a little more comfortable in that energy.
Totally.
Of not doing, of being, and knowing that I am enough and everything is okay, perfectly fine in those moments too.
Yeah, totally. I like this feminine and masculine energies that you're talking about. Obviously, I also believe that everybody needs a balance, even if and you
Totally.
explained it. It's not that you're a man, or you're a woman, I'm a man. We need that balance, and everybody needs that balance between the feminine side and the masculine side. But I think that you're saying more like in a massive point of view, right? Like the world is more like in an
Totally,
masculine
yeah.
energy.
Like, for example, I have a lot of masculine energy. Like, I'm very goal-oriented, driven, like I've had to actually in the past years, like, reconnect a little more with my feminine energy, right? And for me, that was like, and this is something that has helped me these days as well, is dancing. So, but like not like, yeah, so I just put some music on and dance like randomly, freely. And it's hard for me, right? Because I'm like, what's the point of this? I'm looking stupid. And it's like, there is no point. That is the point.
Exactly. That's
But that's
that's
hard
the
for
point.
me.
There is no point. That's the point. I like it.
Yeah,
I'm going to use that
exactly.
for one of the pieces of content on social media this week. You'll
Love
see.
it. Awesome. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's a really, really interesting topics that we are diving in now. And yeah, going back to, maybe again, I'm in a masculine mindset, but going back to the self club related to these changes, this evolution, this needing to adapt to a new context. What were the plans that you had for the self club this year, and how did you change them or needed to adapt them to this new context?
Yeah, well, that was a big one, because I was getting super hardcore with all the events. So I just like found new venues, I was getting super serious with them and all of the workshops. I had like 3 different spaces. So obviously all of that was canceled. But I mean, like most businesses, like we're taking everything online. So actually, I think it's a really cool opportunity because with the local, it's obviously only with the local community because I do love, connecting people on a physical, tangible level. But now I can actually really leverage the international community that I have. So people in California, in New York, clients in Miami, in Spain, in Germany, in UK, and really start to create these like global conversations. So the events that I was running, well, the playground for adults is really difficult to take online because it's like playing games like if we were little kids. So little kids don't really play. Well, now they do, but
Explain a little bit about the playground. That is, I really like that initiative.
Yeah, so the playground for adults is literally we're like 25 to 35 people coming together to play facilitated games for 2 hours, like when we were kids. So we kind of set some ground rules and just like connect with that inner child and just play.
That's super cool.
Oh god, it's really, really fun. It's really great. And it's been great. Like it's been booked out every single time. We've run, I think, I can't remember if it's like six editions already, 7. Yeah.
Wow. What's the most curious thing that happened in one of those events or sessions? Or
I mean, I think that probably how much people get into it, because what's amazing, like when you stop thinking, right, when you're out of this like judging mind and you're just like actually, well, a crazy, oh my god, I don't know if I should say this, but I'm gonna say it because I already started. Okay, this guy, for example, we were playing this game and it was like about like chasing and grabbing the ball, and they were so into it, and this guy was so into it, and I found out 2 weeks later that he broke his rib.
No, playing the game.
Yeah, because he like took the ball and jumped like football style.
He took it really serious.
Yeah, so some people get really competitive, and some people just don't get scared, guys. It's not that, but
And I can imagine that many people haven't played played anything for many years, right?
Exactly.
What type of transformations do you see, or
one of the things that a lot of people kind of come and say thank you for is like, wow, thank you, because it's really hard for me to connect with people, but I don't like connecting with people over, hi, how are you, what do you do, oh great, like not over talking in conversation. So it's like this way where when you're on the same team as somebody playing a game, right, you don't have to talk. You're just like, okay, you go right, I go left, right? Or if it's charades and you're blindfolded, and you just create like this sense of complicity and connection, and you don't even have to know, like, you know, what the person's name is.
Yeah, true.
That's how. So a lot of introverts, for example, are really, or people that just want to get out of their heads. That's, I think, the thing that helps the most, which I'm included in that. I love to get out of my head. That's why I love games, because it just helps me connect with a different part of myself, you know. And I was like, yeah, you know, not be so serious.
What's your favorite game?
Well,
or one of your favorite games? I know it's a hard one.
In the playground or in life?
No, in life.
Mario Kart? Definitely.
That's a good one. So
Mario
video
Kart.
games.
Yeah, listen, I love video games. Like, I had every console, like, from...
You're a gamer.
Yeah. Like, I've always played games, always. Like,
do you have a Twitch account where you stream? No, you don't. Do you even know what Twitch is?
No, actually, I don't.
You should look it up. It's one of the biggest social media platforms nowadays. It's mostly for gamers, where you can stream the game that you're playing, and people can watch you, and you have followers. So whenever you play, you go live like we are doing now, and you can stream it on Twitch. It's super interesting. It's growing like crazy.
I feel like that would put like a lot of pressure, though.
Of course.
Yeah.
But
I like to get competitive with the people next to me, you know, like, you kind of, yeah.
Okay, so Mario Kart. Do you drive like in real life cars?
Of course.
Oh, okay.
I really like driving. Yeah.
That's good. Okay, perfect. Okay, so
I was telling you the plans.
Yeah. Sorry. Plans for next year, for this year. Sorry.
So
I already think in this year as next year. Imagine, because I had to change all the plans. So it's like a whole new year.
Well, I think that whatever we do now is kind of going to be the plans for this whole year as well. I drew my calendar up on my mirror for the next like 2 months, you know? So yeah, and so the games is one thing, and the other thing is the Fuck the Small Talk event that my brother also runs. So it's an event. It's like basically it's a small group, like 25, 30 people, sometimes 15, where we come together for meaningful conversations through like just curious questions. So it's small groups, and we have 2 conversation rounds, and it's just a way to meet like people, but through really deep and meaningful talk.
At some point, it's similar to what you were talking about before, about making these random questions to yourself.
Yeah.
So you're doing like the home edition of Fuck the Small Talk with yourself, and Fuck the Small Talk with other people as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you know, cool. That's actually a cool way to get to know yourself as well, because sometimes we only understand ourselves through verbalizing something, you know? True. Somebody asks you a question, and then, oh, I never thought about that. And then if you know, when you see like a post on social media, like you're scrolling and it says, what would you do if fear wasn't an option, right? Or something like that. You think, oh, cool question, but you don't actually answer it in your head. Like you're not forced to answer it. When you're forced to answer it, you're forced to access different parts of your brain, you know? That's true. Yeah, so it's very different to sometimes self-reflect in your head than have to write it or verbalize it.
Okay, perfect.
So yeah. And so and fuck the small talk, we took it online, but we changed the name because I already hesitated a little bit with the word fuck, because it's a little bit, you know, strong. Yeah, and because we're now going to promote all of those events also with my company in Spain, with Marley Camino, since we have such a big American audience. They're like a little bit older audience, and I feel a little uncomfortable being like, small talk. So
you have to adapt a little bit to your audience.
Yes, and so the name is Humans Not Strangers. That is
okay. It's a little bit friendlier.
Okay, exactly.
Good. But I think you should keep for the other demographics, Fuck the Small Talk, when you go when you do them face to face again. I think you should keep the name, because it's part of your identity, of your brand identity. So keep it.
For the locals, I'll keep it like that.
Good.
Who knows when the next one will be, but yeah.
Totally perfect. And so those are the next steps with the Self Club. And it was very interesting when you mentioned that you have a 2-month calendar of the next things that you're going to be doing. Usually, how do you work or prepare your goals for, I don't know, do you plan it? How do you do your planning? Do you do them like by 2 months, by trimester, semester, year? Do you have like different goals for different time periods, or how do you like working?
Yeah, well, this is, I think, one of the challenges that I've always had, because in my dream, I would have somebody helping me for content creation, and planning the whole calendar, right? So the only thing that I do now is the events. I plan them for like the next 5-6 weeks.
Okay.
I put them all on the calendar, and then I post everything, right? Like I post everything on November, but I don't announce it always right away. Because it's important. Well, because I think it's important, like the timing of when things come out and the reminders that people get. So sometimes for some events that are maybe low investment, right? So low money, low time, if I promote it and they get an announcement like 5 weeks before, people forget. So that's maybe better to have the announcement and the email come out 2 weeks before, or even a week before.
Totally.
And then other bigger things like my online workshops, which I will be having, but I'll have the first one like in 3 weeks. Those, they're more expensive, so they're more time commitment, and they're more even just like energy commitment. Like you have to be there, you have to do the work, right? Those I'll do with more time. So like 3-4 weeks ahead of time, get people, you know, hey, this is what we're going to work here, right? And give them information to see if that workshop is for them and if they can benefit. Yeah, and now with the content calendar, I'm doing it kind of like mostly weekly. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
So I think
you go week by week creating content. So you're doing everything in your company, in the Self Club, in the, not obviously in the tourism company, but in the Self Club, you're doing all by yourself currently.
I mean, I've had like a lot of people collaborate and help. So, you know, for example, with the playgrounds, Delphine, who might be watching still, she was helping me a lot with the ideation, with the brainstorming sessions, the creating the games, and she actually ran 2 of them when I was gone. So that was really great. I have other people here and there, and also my partner will be helping me with a lot of graphic design stuff now.
That's good.
That is the one thing that I don't want to do. It's like creation of banners and graphic stuff. That's just not my strong point, you know? So that's the one thing that I don't do.
Okay, perfect. No, it's perfect. And but also you're doing tons of things for Inside Academy. You also have a company in Spain. So project management is one thing, but multi-project management, it's a whole new level. So how do you do to organize everything? Do you have like a specific technique or tool that you like using, or what's the secret?
Well, my secret is a to-do list. That is the first thing that I check. Yeah. So I have an urgent to-do list, and then I have the different areas. So I have like Marley Camino, Insight, the Self Club. And then usually when I have a lot pending, if it's not organic, I put today, what do I have to get done? What's the focus for today? And I just like copy and paste those things. And I put it in my calendar. Like for example, the Self Club days.
Yeah,
that's before, when I used to, you know, when I had classes, and we'll have classes again soon, right? I used to have Self Club day, and I booked it in my calendar, and that day I won't do anything for anybody else. So if somebody asks me, hey, can you have a meeting this day? I'm like, no. So really blocking it in, that is the most important thing for me. Yeah,
that is something very useful for me as well, like blocking in my calendar. Okay, this next hour I'm going to focus it only on this. And as well, like prioritizing tasks. So I know every day, these are at least the 5 tasks that I need to do. Yes or yes. I cannot go to sleep if I haven't finished these 5 tasks. All the other tasks, it would be great if I can do them, but they are not the main priority of the day.
No, exactly. And you know, I think me and you are really similar in that way. Like we are in a lot of different spaces in our head. We have a lot of ideas, are very, you know, creative and action oriented. And at the same time, we can be like flexible and adaptable. Totally. And there's like a problem with that, because sometimes like when everything is flexible and adaptable, like you don't know what to hold on to. So everything becomes relative. Like, oh, I'm free. yeah, oh, are you busy? Oh yeah, I can make space. And then suddenly you don't have time for the things that you really wanted to do,
Totally.
which were your things, but you didn't
Yeah.
prioritize them. So the point is prioritize what's important
Hmm,
for you,
hmm.
you know?
Yeah, I really it was a game changer for me when I started seeing things as urgent things and important things, and
Yeah,
really
totally.
taking care of the important things, not only the urgent ones. Obviously the urgent ones, okay, I do them, but then having important things being in a higher priority than the urgent things, because that is how you end up getting the most important things get done, really, because you keep on kicking them and postponing them. So I like giving more important things more priority than urgent things sometimes.
Totally. And you know what? That's really good. Also bringing it back to the self for your self-esteem, and your self-worth, because there's something that happens to ourselves, subconsciously when something is important for us, but we don't prioritize it and we keep pushing it back and we keep pushing it back. And days pass, weeks pass, months pass, years pass where that thing that is so important for you hasn't gotten done. Your confidence in yourself and your self-belief starts decreasing. You start
Totally.
feeling bad about the fact that this one thing, you almost feel bad sometimes like talking about it because it's just air. You've just talked about it for so long, but you haven't done it. So you lose trust in yourself.
Totally.
So it's important for your own like self-trust to actually make time for the things that are important, because it's a sign of you, yeah, like betting on yourself, you know?
Totally. And what mechanism, or how can we start, like, not, because knowing that this is the situation, that this is important and I'm not giving it the priority it is, but then taking action to start really doing it or making it happen, there is a huge leap. First of all, you need to recognize it, but then you have to take action. Is there any way or mechanism that you use to make sure that things that you really want to do, you make them happen?
Well, here's where the self-awareness comes in. All right. I think here everybody has to be really honest with themselves. You know who you are if you have the capacity to be internally motivated. You know who you are if you have the capacity to create a plan and stick to it. And you know who you are if you often create plans and then you don't stick to them, right? So
Yeah.
this is where this is not good or bad. This is just you. Like, for example, I don't have the capacity to create a exercise routine by myself. I'm not saying I can't do it. Of course, if I wanted to, it doesn't happen. So I'm not going to lie to myself about it. I'm really bad at it. So the only way I'm going to exercise is having some kind of external accountability. That means going to a class, signing up and paying for something. That means going with a friend and creating like a 30-day challenge with a friend. But alone, it's not going to happen. So I ask you the same thing, right? How do you work? And the only thing here is what works for you. And this is where coaches come in. A lot of coaching is about accountability.
Totally.
You know, it's about having that person to check in with that, you know, is going to ask you, hey, what happened with that? And the power of that is magical, because if nobody asks you, you don't do it sometimes, you know?
I've been working with entrepreneurs for a really long time from Argentina. I've been mentoring and coaching entrepreneurs. And it's super interesting that, for instance, I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, so I've always been accountable for myself. But a lot of people that come from the corporate world, for instance, and then they become an entrepreneur, they say, I need my boss telling me what to do, or just being there looking at me, staring at me, knowing that I'm doing things, because when I work by myself, I don't get things done. Exactly. So they end up hiring somebody like me, for instance, or whoever, just to, what you're saying, be accountable to someone and end up achieving the results that they, or the goals that they have. So totally, accountability is super, super important.
It's tricky, but it's knowing how you work, right? And communicating that.
Yeah,
like, if you do have a boss, or you work with somebody, or you have a friend, can you tell them, hey, can you check in on me with this next week? You know, can you ask me, or put an alarm, right? Like I have, for example, reminders on my phone. There's actually one reminder that happens every 2 weeks, and it says, just do your thing and enjoy the process. I've had it for 3 years, every 2 weeks.
That's good.
And that's a way to remind myself, right? So I always, like, can I flip the screen? I don't know, it's dangerous.
Yeah, flip it. It should adapt.
Okay, here we go. So I don't know if you can see there on my wall. I have a whole bunch of things written. Can you see that?
Yeah, I see it a little bit small, but
Yeah.
maybe people can see it in their own. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I see
So,
post-its and yeah, some.
so yeah, I've always put like reminders on my mirror, on my
Okay.
bathroom mirror, everywhere,
Yeah.
because I know that life is just gonna take me on its autopilot. You know,
Totally.
friends and people and my friends are gonna push me in whatever direction, and it's my job to take myself back to what I know matters. So that's why I create reminders on my phone. I put like seriously on weekends, on specific days, you know, I'm like, remember this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, things like up there, I actually have in huge, discipline beats intelligence, which is something I always say.
Always, totally.
And one thing that I know a lot of you have heard me say, but I want to share it here. And actually, this definition of discipline is one of my favorites. It's discipline is choosing what you want the most over what you want right now, right? So what you want right now.
Say it again. Say it again.
So discipline means choosing what you want the most in life over, like on top of what you want right now. So for example, if what I want the most is to feel good in my body, and right now I feel like a donut. Discipline means choosing what I want the most.
Totally.
So it's not about sacrifice. It's about, hey, always keeping that thing you really want in mind.
The most important goal. Yeah. Like that side project. Many people have side projects, but then when the time comes and okay, I have 1 hour free. Okay, I'm going to watch an episode on Netflix instead of working. Okay, I have 1 hour. I'm going to work this on my side business or my side project, whatever. Makes sense.
Totally.
Makes sense.
And that's,
continue.
That's something that I think about. It's hard, and I know for all of us as entrepreneurs and people who, you know, have jobs, and it's easy to fall into the autopilot. And you know, we've talked about this sometimes, like the world sucks you in, right? But when I think 10 years from now, right, where do I want to be? Where do I want to be as an entrepreneur? What do I want my brand to have? What kind of reach do I want to have had, right? Like what will stay with me 10 years from now? And for me, it's what I have created out into the world, right? It's the impact I've had on people. It's the brand awareness that I have created, you know?
Yeah, it's your legacy.
Yeah. So that's what helps me to prioritize and be like, okay, yes, this is actually the most important thing is this.
Totally. We are in a journey here in life, and the things that are going to remain are those type of things that you are mentioning. So yeah, I'm glad. Good. So something that I wanted to mention before, for entrepreneurs, an accountability system that I really like, and it really helped me. I don't know. As you said, everybody's different. Everybody some things will work for somebody, some people, and some things will work for other. But I really liked and enjoyed being part of masterminds. Have you heard about masterminds?
Yeah, so totally.
For the rest of the audience, a mastermind is like a group. For instance, if we're talking about entrepreneurs, a group of entrepreneurs that we get together every week or every fortnight or once a month, and we talk about different things related to our business, and we help each other. So it's like a small group, let's say 3 to 5 people, more or less, depending on the mastermind. And we have like an agenda of the meeting every 2 weeks or every month or whatever the frequency is. And we talk about different things that happen in our business, in our life as entrepreneurs. And it's a really good, for me, it was a really good experience because it helped me be accountable, not only to myself, but also to my group. Even though their businesses were totally different than mine, they knew what was happening in my almost day-to-day things in the business. So they were there, like not controlling, but asking me, hey, did you end up doing this? Did you accomplish this? Did you organize that other thing? So masterminds for me was super interesting. And I started just talking with some friends, like we were 3 friends. We were 3 entrepreneurs from totally different industries. Like I have a friend that is a chef, I'm in marketing, and another is a friend that is in sustainability. So totally different industries. And we were just talking about ourselves as entrepreneurs, not as friends, because then during the weekend, yeah, we could have a beer and talk about our life, football, whatever. But here we were talking about us as entrepreneurs and about our businesses. And it was
really
super,
cool.
super helpful. And then I organized many masterminds for entrepreneurs, and a lot of people find it super, super useful. So that's another.
So how can people find like a mastermind that's right for them?
The name is Mastermind, but what we did was just the three of us. We were entrepreneurs and we were struggling, or we knew that we needed some support. So we just organized every 2 weeks. Thursday night, it was our mastermind time. And we talked for 2-3 hours about, we always created on advance an agenda of things that we were going to cover. And then we had also spare time to talk about other things that weren't in the agenda. But usually we tried to follow that structure. I think it could be interesting to be with people that are almost in the same stage of business.
Yeah, totally.
But also having people that have more experience every now and then join. Every now and then we also invited like an external mentor to guide us through maybe problems that none of us had, so we didn't have experience to help each other and recommend each other. So we also invited like somebody, an external speaker or mentor to guide us on that session. So it was the mix between people that are going through the same as me and this experienced person that already went through it and can share his vision of the situation with us. So
basically, some people could create their own mastermind, right?
No, totally. That's what I'm saying. If you are in, for instance, students at Inside Academy, they are in the perfect context to create a mastermind. The people that are going to class with you are the perfect candidates to join you in a mastermind. Or not even in your intake, you could find anybody in the Facebook group of Inside Academy. So yeah, I think Inside allows you to find people that could be really helpful for these mastermind sessions. Talking about sessions, before I forget, and now I'm going to open it to the audience so they can start asking questions. But before before they ask questions, I want to ask you about Life Happens. Life Happens is coming back to Inside Academy, and we're going to do it online. So please, Samantha, can you explain what is Life Happens for those of that don't know what exactly Life Happens is, and how we're going to organize it from now on online?
Yes, so we're going to be doing the sessions that are about an hour and a half, all right, with a group of 10 to 15 people maximum. And Life Sessions is a space and a time just to come together and kind of touch base emotionally. Yeah, so it's a space just to listen, talk, right? It's kind of like that mastermind, but for emotional accountability.
Totally.
Yeah, where you can touch base, see what's going on, and sometimes just having that space is really, really helpful. To understand yourself, to understand that you're not alone. So I'm really looking forward to it, because I think that having conversations around what we're feeling, what's coming up, that's already enough, without even telling you how to deal with it, right? Just feeling it is the most important thing right now.
And what is the dynamic? Because sometimes people are a little bit not afraid, but they don't like opening, or they don't know how to participate in this type of things that is about opening yourself. So what is the dynamic of a Life Happens session, for instance?
Well, we're going to be testing the online version for the first time, right? So it's going to be, it's going to depend a lot on how many people join, right? If it's 5 people, it'll be different than if it's 15. Totally. But one thing that I do want to play with is a little bit with like the breakout groups as well. If it's a bigger group, so in groups of 3-4, we can just kind of share a little bit if we want. And if somebody doesn't want to talk at all and just wants to listen, great too.
And they can participate without talking.
Yes.
Not ideal.
No, but I encourage anybody that is curious and that has stuff going on to come inside, come join. And if you're going to have to say like your name when you're there. Yeah. But if at any moment you don't feel like sharing because you don't feel like it, don't. It's okay. the point is being in that safe space, and if you do feel it, to share and to be listened to at that moment.
And many times listening what others are going through, we feel very related to that, and helps us, and maybe somebody expressing something, it's exactly the same that what you are going through. So maybe afterwards the help that people give to that person also apply to yourself, and you can apply it to yourself. So if you're a little bit shy and you don't want to participate, being there and listening, it could be good as well.
Totally. I think it's going to be a great emotional support space, which I think is very important always, and especially right now. So I'm really happy. I'm excited about it. We haven't launched yet the days that it will be, right? But we'll do that very soon.
Okay, but it's going to be a weekly session, right?
It's going to be a weekly session. Yes, I think we said Tuesdays, but I'm not sure. We're going to confirm the time with the schedule so it fits in for everybody's timetable. And yeah.
Okay, perfect. Great. So now I'm opening it to questions. We have 21 people watching us. We have a little bit of delay from Facebook to what we are doing.
I also wanted to tell everyone,
yes.
well, if there's any questions coming in, that on this Saturday at Saturday the 4th at 12:30 p.m. So the same time that is this, I will be doing the first Fuck the Small Talk online. So humans, not strangers.
Good.
Yeah, at 12:30, and it's gonna be, the first one is gonna be free, so like donation based only.
Okay.
Anybody that wants to join for free can join, and I'm going to make it a challenge to see if we can get as many international connections as possible. So I'd love for you guys to join.
I've got two questions. First one, how are you managing the different time zones?
I got it down, Lucas. I got it down. 12:30 p.m. is 9:30 p.m. Miami and 5:30 p.m. California.
Okay.
So it'll be a Friday evening party for America and Tuesday lunch party here for us.
Okay, and Europe, it's like 7 a.m.?
It's like 1:30 a.m. So unless
no Europeans,
crazy drunk Brit wants to join.
And Latin America is going to be like 10 p.m. So maybe you have some.
Even earlier, like Latin America. Oh yeah.
Depending, Colombia is different than Brazil and
exactly.
Argentina.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Great. That is on Saturday. And the second question is, how do people join this? How can people join?
Yeah, so follow me, like the Self Club, on Facebook or Instagram, and I'll post everything on there. We have that on Saturday, and Sunday we have a live session kind of like this one, but it's going to be focused on how to feel our emotions. With a student and a dear coach friend, Matt Adams. So that's going to be really cool as well. Yeah. So
when is this one?
Forward to that. That's going to be Sunday at 11 a.m. here.
Okay, perfect. That one is for free as well?
Yeah. The webinars are all going to be free. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Afterwards, we're going to share those links so people can join.
Cool.
And not questions so far. We haven't received any questions so far. Come on, people.
Cool. Well, that means we were clear.
Super clear. Crystal clear. No, we have lots of comments. A lot of people joining us. So we have like now 19 viewers, but throughout the whole transmission, we had 23 people like stable. Sometimes we grew to 25, 26, and now 19. Lots of hellos for you. Many comments about the topics that we were talking about. So thank you.
I can go in and check those out, right? Like later?
Yeah, you can access on Facebook. Here, Anne-Sophie says that she's having a mastermind. She's one of our students. She's part of a mastermind with her friends that are all from completely different jobs, but they do brainstorming together, and they give each other different points of view on ideas that they have. And that they are finding it a really good experience with a lot of feedback outside of their area. So that's super cool. Then they ask if they are going to be able to see the video from the beginning. Yes, everything is being recorded and it's going to stay in Facebook. So once we finish this live session, people will be allowed to access it afterwards and watch it completely. And are we going back to school soon? We're going to have a new way of school. We're going to have a digital version of school, online school from next week. So from next week, you're going to be seeing our faces again through the screen. But we don't know what's going to happen with all this situation. It's super uncertain, super complicated everywhere in the world. In Argentina, they've already finished like a lockdown, 15 days lockdown that nobody can go out in the street to the street. And now the president just talked and they extended it to the 15th of April. So it's going to be 1 month of lockdown. And
in the US, they just announced the same 30 more days.
30 days.
30 more days, yeah.
Yeah. And the US, the situation in the US is out of control. That's the problem. Yeah. So yeah, well, I think I'm going to start wrapping this up. No, not so many questions. So still, I think we talked about really interesting things. So Samantha, thank you very much for joining me today. As always, it was a pleasure to talk with you. And I think we could do in a couple of weeks another session and go deeper into all those areas of self-awareness and getting to know more about yourself, because I think it was super interesting, and I really enjoyed it. So
some juicy questions, we know which direction to dive into.
Totally.
Thanks for having me, Lucas. I loved it. I'm looking forward to all of these sessions with really interesting entrepreneurs. So it's going to be really cool. And yeah, all of the students out there, see you in class soon.
Totally.